Hello there, it's me, Egil Thorsson once again, and I'm going to tell you part of a massive saga about the forging of a sword for Sigurd. As you look at the history of the Norse and the Vikings, one theme occurs: swords, and how good or how bad they are. Now, Sigurd was of your typical Viking hero type. However, he needed a sword. So, off to the forest he went to see Regin. Regin was a dwarf, and they are renowned for their skill as blacksmiths and sword makers. Sigurd rode up. "Regin!" "Yes?" "I want you to forge me a sword, the best you can make." "That's not a problem." And so it was. Sigurd sat with a horn of mead, and the dwarf gathered together precious metals, jewels, even gold, and he chanted strange words over it, carved runes on the blade, and planted jewels in the hilt. And when he finished, he took the sword, a magnificent piece of work, to Sigurd. "There you are. What do you think of that?" "It looks pretty enough, but does it do the job?" "Of course." "Well, let's see, shall we?" Sigurd raised his mighty arm. With the sword, he struck at the anvil, and the sword shattered. "This is no good. Are you trying to pull the wool over my eyes? You said you were the finest swordsman. I need the finest sword. Get on with it." "Yes, okay, I'll do it." The dwarf, he was annoyed, but he didn't show it. Sure enough, he gathered all the bits together and got some new metals. He twisted and forged and hammered. He sang songs, he cast spells, put runes on, and it was even more beautiful than the sword he made before. "There you are. That'll do your job." "We shall see," said Sigurd. And once again he took in his hand. He admired it. It was a beautiful piece of work. There's no two ways about it. If you want a sword made, Regin's the guy. So he got the sword, and again he struck at the anvil, a savage blow. Once again the sword shattered to pieces. "You're useless. I'll come back. You make sure you learn your skill better." So it was. Sigurd rode off to his mother's house. Knocked on the door. "Yes, mother? Have you got the pieces of the sword Brandstock?" "What? Why do you want that? That's your father's sword." "I know. I want it reforged because the time for adventure and questing is here. And I will not be found wanting, but I need a good sword. Regin can forge them, and it's all right for ordinary men, but I'm not as an ordinary man. I'm not." "I know, dear," she said, and she went to a secret hiding place. She took out something wrapped in different coloured silks that were restored lovingly, and amongst it were pieces of a fine sword. She wrapped them up again and said, "Here are, my son. Take these with my blessing and your father's. Do good with it. Remember, you carry your father's name in this sword. Do not disgrace him or I." "I won't, mother. This is why I wanted this sword. Go in peace." So Sigurd rode off again, clutching the pieces of the precious sword to his chest, holding the reins with one hand. And then he came to the forge. "Here, dwarf," said Sigurd. "Take these pieces, and mind you forge them well, because if you make a mistake, I will tear your head off with my own bare hands." "Okay," said Regin. He then sat Sigurd down, who was quite excited at this point, and got the forge going. He sang a strange song, as though Odin himself was working through the dwarf. He summoned gods, he summoned goddesses. Strange things happened, and even Even the greatest forgers of steel in the world could not compare. And sure enough, he said, "Here we are, Sigurd. The great sword is forborn again. Take care of it. Here I have used all my skill and all my magic. No sword is ever any better than this. Otherwise you may tear my head from my shoulders." Sigurd's powerful hand gripped the hilt. It felt different. It felt as though his father was inside, his spirit guiding him. The blade was spotless. There were runes carved, but you couldn't see them, if you know what I mean. They flickered like light through trees, and there were serpentine strands in the blade. This was the most beautiful sword Sigurd had ever seen, and its weight was perfect. Didn't need jewels, didn't need anything like that, or gold inlays. It was a sword of a warrior. Sigurd raised the sword. The sun glinted on it. He brought it down, and the anvil shattered to 1,000 pieces. Sigurd laughed. "Ha! This is truly my father's sword. This is truly a sword for a hero. Thank you, Regin." Regin remembered the comments that Sigurd had said, and in later times, later sagas, you will hear what they were and how they led to other things. But that is the end of the story for the moment. Remember to go to #Viking Sagas and leave us a comment. So until then, I bid you all a fair good night.